Hey family, it's Tasha, MAMABEAR Prepping. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel where we just talk about preparedness, and really we just talk about what my family does for preparedness and getting ready for natural disasters and different things that might be happening around the world, around our country, and how we're preparing for those things. So, you know, it's no secret winter's coming, right? I actually was one that thought, you know, our summer was going to last a little bit longer because just years past, if we've had rain going into summer, you know, it just kind of elongates our summer timeline. But boy, I tell you what, it is getting pretty chilly at night, right? Definitely feeling a tone, a difference in the air. When you go outside, right? During the day, it's a little bit more of a crisp feeling, but definitely in the nighttime, for sure, there is that feeling of, ooh, the weather's about to turn, right? And so now it becomes, what are the last minute things we got to do to just prepare for winter, prepare the home, prepare ourselves, and make sure that everything is buttoned up, ready to go. Okay. And so today I'm just going to walk you through 9 areas, different things that we're doing to get our home ready. And hopefully we'll just give you some ideas of things, last minute things that you need to do as well to help button up your home as well. Okay, so my 9 areas, and I have several things in each area. So please make sure that you're taking notes and stay here to the end of the video because there's little snippets in each area, okay? So first area is weatherizing your home. So that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. That could be a lot of people weatherize their windows, right? Put up plastic. We have a few rooms that we don't really utilize in the wintertime. And so those definitely get buttoned up. Plastic gets put up on them. I put some, you know, the nice curtains are up. I put it over the blinds so you can't see it, you know, from the outside, and nobody's the wiser. And it really, really does help with keeping the heat in the home. Now, I know a lot of people live in apartments or live in newer type construction, and there's not a lot of drafts, but we live in an older home. And so there's drafts. Every year we're finding more drafts or another spot we need to kind of button up as far as plugging or whatever the case may be. And for us, blocking certain windows is helpful. We are going to get new windows and doors here over the next year, but in the meantime, we're still dealing with the older windows and we'll be putting plastic up. This could also mean going in your basements or under your house and insulating your pipes, especially anything that's metal, that's exposed, old metal, getting that covered, even bigger pipes that aren't necessarily metal, but getting that stuff insulated. So insulating pipes to help for pipes freezing, so that if it gets cold where you live, you help the chances of your pipes hopefully not freezing. What else do I have on here? Filling cracks. So getting that spray foam and going around and just seeing where you can see different cracks and fill those. I like that foam that you just spray into the crack and then it kind of comes out and kind of messy, but then once it dries, you just cut it off and you sand it down and it's perfect. Okay. Again, we have older house. We're always finding new cracks, new spots where we're like, oh, that's drafting. And so just take a minute to go through every single room. You might have to pull furniture out to really see where these cracks or holes might be where, and this is good just for, you know, spiders and other insects and stuff getting in your home. You've given them access to that. This could be around windows, right? Maybe it's not putting plastic up around windows, but maybe it's a little bit of filling cracks and holes around and sealing windows that are a little bit loose, okay? Let's see. So plastic windows, filling cracks, pipe coverings, and different door drafts, right? We have a door, for example, in past years, we have several entrances to the house, and we have in past years, this one door is really bad. We've actually plasticed the whole entire door, and that door is just not utilized during winter. But this could be as simple as just having your rice snakes and your different things at the bottom of the door to help keep heat in certain rooms that you want to keep heat in as well, right? Shutting your interior doors, having those snakes in front of them, and keeping heat where you want to keep the heat at, okay? Shutting off different rooms. Again, we have rooms that we don't really use during the winter, and so shutting those off so that you're not having to heat your whole area. That goes into my second area, which is heating elements. How are you heating your home? Obviously, wood stove to me is the best long-term solution for all types of preparedness reasons. But if you can't do that, what can you get? Can you get a gas stove? Can you get a pellet stove? Can you get the wood stove eventually later on? What can you do for heating? Think about heating certain rooms, right? This could be a variety of things. Maybe you have a combo of a wood stove, but you have some heating elements, some electric units. But take a look at all of that stuff, right? And really see and make sure that you have a heating option, I guess you could say, in the spots of the home that you need to have that set up for, okay? And then you should be conducting your maintenance on that, right? So let's say you live in an apartment, you live in a nice home, and you have, HVAC, you have a heater that you can turn on, but changing out your filters for that, right? Making sure that everything is cleaned, free of debris, anything that could cause a fire. That's your chimney stacks. Your even gas stoves have off-flow stacks. Getting that clean, right? If you don't know how to do that yourself, getting a professional in there, taking a look at making sure that your chimney and everything is cleaned out and ready to go and safe. Your drafts, everything is, especially if you're just now setting something up, really making sure that everything is set up and safe to go for that. So maintenance that has to do with your heating elements in general, okay? This also is heating in general, right? What would you do, or what do you have in regards to, hey, putting out extra blankets? So for me, for example, all the beds have blankets. Summertime, we have summertime blankets that are a little bit lighter, right, feeling, and then we have heavier blankets that we bring out, and I bring out that go on the beds in the wintertime. So that could be switching out your bedding like that, or it could just be adding bedding. Okay, maybe it's getting cold, it's getting down there in the numbers, bringing out extra blankets and having extra blankets on the kiddos in the room, at least ready for them, right? What do you have ready to go for that extra stuff? Weatherized gear, right? Getting ahead of having, those heavier socks to wear in the house. Gloves, coats, sweaters, I'm going outside now and I'm definitely putting a sweater on when I go outside just to cut the chill. So simple things like that, hats, sweatshirts, jackets like this. Just think about the changing of clothing and gear, and that it's definitely changing outside and being ready for that. Because if things go crazy, if we lose power, for example, part of this country, and people are freezing to death, that stuff goes. You're not going to be able to find a jacket. You're not going to be able to find gloves, simple things that you're like, oh, I need this warming gear. You're not going to be able to find that stuff because it's going to get bought out. Okay. Number 3 thing I have is your garden prep. So obviously fall and winter crops, they're a little bit more hardy, especially if they're already established. You want them to be as established as possible. But a lot of plants are specifically their winter crops because they are hardy and they can make it in colder weather, right? Frost type weather. However, you're still going to want to have the things ready to go when that temperature gets really low. It gets in the 20s here in the winter time. Not all the time, not consistent. Well, at least in years past. I haven't been here for a while. So really, this is going to be a learning experience for me to see how bad the winters are getting here. Last year, it was pretty bad. I mean, they had a lot of flooding type happening with the rain, and there was heavier snow than normal. So, I might be in for one. So I have to be ready for the garden. You have to have ready whether that's sheets, whether that's hoops, some sort of covering hoop system that you've either bought or you've built yourself. Having the clamps to clamp it down. Weather is finicky. For us, for example, here, it's winds. Everything has to be tied down, weighted down, clamped down. So, for example, if I know the frost coming, I can't just put sheets out there and it's going to stay. I've got to clamp everything down. Hoops, you've got to clamp them down, okay? So think about that stuff now that you might need for your garden. Think about what stuff now is going to need to come inside. We have all types of tropical type fruit plants out there, right? That are in pots. Lemon trees, avocado trees, orange trees, pomegranate trees, right? So we have to bring this stuff in. Stuff that's in the ground, certain plants, they're just going to die off and go dormant for the winter, right? But what you can bring inside, bring inside. If you have really young trees that are fruit trees that are still really pretty young, you can wrap them. You can wrap the bases of them with a sheet, and try to keep them as warm as possible in the wintertime. There's tree insulation. There's different things that you can buy to try to just help them so that they don't totally just kill the root system and they just die off completely and don't come back in the spring. Do what you can do. Think about what you have in your property and where you're at and what's the game plan. Is it, okay, hurry up and get a greenhouse. We're going to try to get our greenhouse before November so that we have that outside. But if not, that stuff has to come inside, right? And so what's the game plan? Bringing in plants inside is not always the easiest because that's completely different ecosystem that you're potentially bringing into your home, right? You have no idea what insects and pests might be in the dirt or on the plant, and you're bringing it in your home. So just some things to think about when you're getting ready for winter for your plants and what that looks like, and being ready for the different weather cycles that are going to come through that you're going to have to deal with. Okay. What does that look like and what can you do? And really watching, this is the time of year, winter is the time of year you really, really have to watch the weather. Every single day you need to be watching the weather and watching the temperatures. For me, if you have livestock, this is like a homesteading farmer thing, I feel like. You have to be on top of the weather and the temperatures for both gardening and for livestock. It's a must, okay? So that you don't get caught with your pants down and it's super, super cold and you didn't do anything for plants, you didn't do anything for your animals. So what you've got to be basically on top of your temperatures and your weather, okay? Absolute must. Number 4 is your outdoor maintenance. So, getting the house prepared from the outside for what's about to hit, right? If you didn't clean the gutters out, for example, after, this spring and the summer, you didn't get a chance to clean out the gutters. You need to clean those out, right? Any kind of debris that's on top of your roof or the gutters, making sure the gutters going down are totally clear now and not clogged. When the gutters come down, having a diversion and so that the water is going and being displaced where you want it to go, right? It's not going under your house. It's not pooling up at the corner of the house, or it's not directed in an area that now floods very easily and you're just directing all your gutter water to that spot. Think about, go outside, walk around your home and think about where that water goes and gets displaced naturally with the way you have it set up now, and then do whatever maintenance you need to do to divert it if needed to a different place to get ahead of that rain. It's the worst thing in the world when it's actually pouring, and you identify a situation that you have to fix, and then you have to go outside in the weather to try to fix that because it's going to cause you more heartache down the road if you don't handle it, okay? Let's see. So this could be also getting ready ahead of it with having sandbags and things like that ready to go, just in case there's any kind of flooding situations, need to block off doors, need to divert water, having shovels and things like that to build trench, basically having the things ready in case you run into a winter weather type situation, super heavy rain, super heavy snow. That's having your snow tools, that's being able to dig yourself out, clean off your porch area, your walkway areas, your walkway out to the garden, whatever paths need to be cleared that you're ready to go as far as snow movement, de-icing, right? All of that good stuff. So you're ready to go for winter. All right, for the outside. This is also rain barrels, emptying them. Your barrels will freeze and then they'll bust. Okay, so if you have smaller type containers, you have stuff, even 55-gallon rain catchments, that's, again, you've got to watch the weather. You can keep them full if the weather permits, but once you get to those freezing temperatures, you're taking a chance with that water freezing and then your barrel literally cracking, okay? And that's not a good thing. So keeping ahead of the weather so that you can drain those. If you're able to have barrels that are inside a structure but still collecting water to some degree, great. If you have a huge cistern, okay, that's great because it's a bigger body of water. Awesome. Okay. But be thinking about your smaller watering systems, smaller gravity fed systems, rain barrels, that type of thing. Okay. Number 5 thing I have is pest control, right? Making sure that you're up on your traps, on your different sprays. You know, critters like to come in. They like to be warm just like you and I do. And so I'm already seeing an increase of spider activity. Not crazy, but they like, you know, it's getting cold outside. So you have pests that are going to be looking for heat. Okay. And so you're going to see an activity and you have to be ready for that. Have your traps, have your sprays, make sure those things stay outside and don't come inside, all the creepy crawlies, and do what you can do to get ready for that. Okay. 6 is livestock and pets. Something that we didn't realize that I'm learning now is, so we're about a week away, 2 weeks away from getting our chicken coop for outside. We're getting a pre-done, prefab done. It's from a local company. We're going to be buying that coop and then we'll build upon it as we move forward in years to come, right? But we're buying this from a local company that builds chicken coops. We are super excited and we're on track for the chicks to go outside. We're thinking about all the stuff, right, that I want to attach to it, how we're going to feed them, all this stuff. But winter's coming, right? And so happy chicks means eggs. And how do you make sure that your chicken is going to lay eggs year round, or setting it up to where they'll lay eggs all year long? So it's keeping them warm. They like light. They like to stay warm. So having a heater, having a light set up, insulating the coop. Again, we have super high winds here. And so wind breaks for us are going to be very important for the chicks. Chickens are very, very hardy anyway, right? They have all their feathers. They're very hardy. But you still want to insulate that coop and give those chickens more layers in regards to staying warm, right? So making sure that it stays warm in there. And there's all different types of tricks and tips that I'm learning about keeping that coop warmer. But we've got to do that. So that's more projects. That's more things that have to be done to get ready for winter. So insulating that coop, getting those wind breaks, because, you know, the chickens might be happy, right? But boy, that wind whips through that thing. And now they're just, I don't like all this wind. And then they don't want to lay eggs for you. Okay. So lots of things to do. And this goes for any kind of livestock you have, wherever you have them. Do you have livestock that come in during winter, right? That stay out normally outside, but now they're going to be brought in at night. Extra bedding, those wind breaks, different things that matter. Animals, pets that stay outside maybe normally, but wintertime they come in. Or if they stay outside still, is there a spot that's warmer, right? Where do they sleep at night? Is there anything you can do to prepare that and prepare them and to make life easier for them? Okay. So getting ready for taking care of livestock and pets and all the things that you would have to do to make sure that they're ready to go for winter as well, and these dropping temperatures. Number 7 thing I have is off-grid backup. So all of this, what do? Grid down. You lose power. Do you have a way to still heat your home with loss of power? You have got to be prepared for that. Now, yes, this could be something as simple as a buddy heater, but you really need to think of long-term scenarios. Wood stove. What do you have? Do you have the cords of wood? You should have that stacked to the hilt if you do have a wood stove, right? Pellet stove. Like, what do you have for a grid down situation? If it is a buddy heater, what's the plan? What rooms are you guys going to shut off? What room are you actually going to heat? What extra clothing and different ways do you have to heat that room? If it's not that, if it's stones, if it's whatever it is, right, that you're trying to utilize and do to be able to heat your room, a room or your house, what do you have in your supplies ready to go? What else do you need, right? That's miserable being cold. It's miserable, right? Hubby would rather be cold than too hot. He's like, it's much easier to get warm than to get cool yourself. I'm almost the opposite, right? I would rather lose power in the summer over the winter time, anytime. Winter time is a little bit more gloomier, a little bit darker. So now you're having to worry about the lighting situation a little bit more than you would in the summertime. And to me, it's just a little bit different, right? But think about grid down. Think about how you would cook, how you would stay warm, how you would light your home and see things. And again, think about this in regards to your pets, your livestock, all of those things, okay? So think about this whole picture, but then think grid down, okay? Number 8 thing I have is your safety checks. Must-haves, right? Fire extinguishers. Wintertime, you have different lighting options. Grid down, you might have lanterns now all of a sudden lit, right? So what is your safety measures, your fire extinguishers? A lot more people lighting candles, right, for that little cozy warmth thing. A lot of fireplaces that weren't lit before are now lit, right? So fireplaces, wood stoves. So you have a lot of extra safety areas to worry about when it comes to staying safe and not burning down the house, right? So fire extinguishers, fire alarms, checking them all now. Go around now, check all the batteries, do all the maintenance on them, do the tests, and make sure they work. Carbon monoxide, again, I cannot stress that, having carbon monoxide everywhere, all over the house, so that you are able to be warned if something is happening that you can't see or smell, okay? So make sure that you have your safety stuff. This could be as simple as the snow stuff and having, you know, the salt and the crystals for putting outside your porch, just walking to your car to go to work, right? Safety stuff, slip stuff. Just think safety and make sure that you have all those items maintenance and checked and ready to go. And then the last thing I have is number 9, which is prep your mental game, right? This winter is going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal for a lot of other reasons that a lot of people have not dealt with in a long time. You know, this utility bills, that's a big deal. These super high bills that people can't afford. And so you're going to have more people that don't have lights, don't have heat this winter. You're going to have different crises where blackouts and brownouts and the companies having to deal with this stuff. You have weather in general, storms, more snow, more flooding, more water, right? You have these other things that tend to happen more in the winter time that you have to be ready for, right? And mentally, if you have the supplies, you have the things, you're ready for it, and you're prepared, that does help mentally. But there's going to be a lot of other things. Elections, for example, are going to be happening. You know, help yourself, right? Don't watch all these videos if they're giving you anxiety. Limit your news, limit the coverage you're watching on the election stuff. Whatever it is, take care of yourself, right? Self-love is important. What else do I have? Oh, holidays coming up, right? Things are rough. Inflation is just getting worse and worse. Try to get your holiday stuff now. When I say holiday stuff, whatever it is you guys normally eat for the holidays, for Thanksgiving, try to get that stuff now, because it's just going to get more expensive the closer we get to the holidays. So try to get your Thanksgiving meal together now, right? Get that ham or turkey in the freezer now. I know for some people, they have a small freezer and they're like, I don't have room for that. Well, then try to get your pressure canner and pressure can the turkey, right? You don't have room in your freezer. Maybe you have an apartment and you just have the combo and you're like, I don't have room for a big ham and a big turkey, but you normally get those things. Get those things, get your pressure canner and pressure can that stuff then, okay? That's just an option, but get that stuff now, because it's gonna be possibly hard to even get, but 2, it's gonna be more expensive. That's facts. That's not going away, right? And so the more stuff you can get now, same thing with Christmas. I know a lot of people already are planning to not really have a Christmas in regards to a ton of presents, right? But if you are still trying to do some sort of Christmas as a mom, right? Work on it now. Get your onesie twosies things now. Look for your sales now. Hit those sales. Get the onesie twosie things here and there and put them away in the closet so that you have those onesie twosie things later on, right? Places that have layaway, do the layaway. Do what you can do to get ready for Christmas. Now, if you do a lot of baking and all that stuff, get that stuff now. Make sure you have that in your home now so that you're not having to worry about later. Again, it's gonna be more expensive the longer you wait. If you wait to get all that baking stuff, flour, sugar, chocolate chips, all the different things, it's gonna cost more, okay? Do you have to get it now? Absolutely not. But winter is coming. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be a bad one. You've got to get your home ready. You've got to get your family ready. And you've got to try to continue to fight this inflation and fight what's going on, not to mention shortages, and try, as we move forward, the more you try to get things that you want, the possibility of it not being there, completely not being there. Or it's just being bought out because people are going to buy that stuff. Okay. everybody is kind of getting on the jump because of inflation. Whether people prepare or not, you have families who are thinking about inflation and don't want to pay those prices. And so you have a lot of the country that maybe doesn't prepare, right? But they are preparing and trying to get ahead of inflation, okay? And that doesn't do you any justice for trying to get things and for shortages and all this stuff that's happening around us. So I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are having a great conversation with me in the chat. You guys always have great ideas, great comments about things you're doing. So hopefully you're in the chat talking about different things you're doing to get ready for winter. To help people out. And for those of you that are brand new to this, you've got this. Don't stress. Don't be fearful. Don't have anxiety. It's one thing at a time. It's one day at a time. By no means do you need to take this list and just go buck wild and go out there and spend a whole entire check on this stuff. Just slowly write your list. Slowly think about the things that you need to still do. Prioritize them and then get them done little by little. Budget it in to your budget, just like you do a normal bill or normal whatever, okay? You've got this, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. You guys take care. Bye.